Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Instagram Who, What, Why, and Where. I want to give everybody a chance, or give a heads up. This is not just a presentation, this is a conversation. So feel free to post any questions or comments to YouTube or tweet to us directly at RPS123shoot, that is SHOOT. And if you're listening after the broadcast, still ask, just post your comments or tweet at us, and we will follow up directly. All right, so for those of you who don't know us, I am Amanda Sutt, and I'm the creative director and CEO here at Rock, Paper, Scissors, and we are a branding and marketing firm. We have been in this business for over 30 years, so we have seen a lot of changing and done a lot of changing ourselves to keep up with the time. We focus on our clients' brands, not just the logo and the marketing collateral, but the entire experience. And so this set of webinars helps us talk a little bit more about that. And today, joining us is our content marketer, Valerie Kinney.
Good afternoon, everyone.
All right, so let's get into it. Instagram. You've probably heard a lot about Instagram in the past couple of years or so, but for many business owners, this social sharing platform is still a pretty new concept. If you're not familiar with it, you've probably wondered not only what is Instagram, but how to use it and why it is relevant in business.
Okay, so as we mentioned, it's a photo sharing social network, and it's an app that you put on your phone, so you can share your pictures and your videos with the public or only to users that are following you. That's how Instagram was originally designed, so that you could either have a public profile or a private profile. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later, because in the past year they have released the business profile. But anyway, the app is free to use. You can download it from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And Hootsuite recently mentioned that since launching Instagram in 2010, it has become the go-to platform for visual storytellers around the globe. And it recently reached a milestone of 6 million monthly users.
Unreal. So the question then becomes, who makes up these visual storytellers if we have that many people using it? So research from Trax has revealed that Instagram's users are predominantly female, with 30% of women who are online are using this. In contrary to where only 26% of men are using it. And the majority of Instagram users, 90%, are under the age of 35. So that kind of gives you a feel for who's on this. So let's, now that you kind of know who's using it, let's dive into actually creating an account.
Okay, so first step is to set it up. All you've got to do is open the App Store on your phone and search for Instagram, and then click to install. And once you've successfully installed that app on your phone, you just need to open it and start creating your account and getting everything set up.
So you can either register with an email, or you can use your Facebook. So that you know, Instagram is owned by Facebook at this right now, so that gives you a little idea of how these two are integrated. So if you choose to register through Facebook, you'll need to log in to your Facebook account if you're not already logged in. After you've registered, you'll be taken through a series of steps to create a username and password, and then you fill out your profile information. You can also create an account on your computer, but you will not be able to load images to the app from your desktop or laptop, because go back to, this is a mobile app, and they are very strict about that. You can only really do a lot of things with it on a mobile device.
Okay, so as mentioned earlier, Instagram has two types of accounts now, a personal profile and a business profile. And the business profile has a lot of great advantages for businesses and brands to promote what they have to offer, because you can create specific calls to action, you can pay to promote posts, you can even create ads, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So it's important that you choose the business option when you're setting up your account, so that you can take advantage of those tools. And all you have to do to set that up is, when you're creating your account, click on the settings icon in the top right corner and scroll down until you see that switch to business profile. And when you do that, you'll also need to make sure that you're switching your profile from a private account to a public account. Instagram will remind you of this when you're clicking that switch to business profile thing. So if you forget, they'll have a little pop-up that says, hey, don't forget to do this. And then if you have both a personal and a business Instagram profile, Instagram has created a way for you to be able to switch between the two accounts without having to log in and log out all the time to switch between the two. That just gets cumbersome, and so they've got a good way to do that. So again, you'll click that settings icon in the top right corner, and then you'll want to scroll down and select add an account. And when you do that, you just enter the username and password of the account that you're wanting to add. And once you've added that, you can switch between the two. All you have to do is go up to the top of the profile that you're in and tap the username and at the top of the screen, and then you'll tap on, it'll drop it down and you'll tap on the other account that you want to switch to.
So now that your account is set up, you're ready to start posting content and interacting with other users. So content can range from motivational and inspirational to practical ideas, helpful tips, behind the scenes look at your company, or even shoppable posts showcasing your merchandise and giving your audience the ability to purchase right from the app, which is a new awesome thing that they let you do. It all just depends on your business goals and the type of information you want to share with your audience. So for example, we use our Instagram primarily as a place to show off our office culture and behind the scenes fun, as a way to reflect some of our core values like learning and sharing, as well as playfulness. And also knowing Instagram's target audience, this younger demographic is not necessarily our target customer, so we're not necessarily using it to get new customers. What we do use it, knowing that this is a younger demographic, this is where we recruit our creative team, or we find new vendors, and this is where we're engaging with them. So we use our Instagram as a little bit different of a strategy. So those are things you're thinking about when you're trying to build out what your why you're using it.
Okay, so what content you want to post, it's time to determine how you're going to present it. And Instagram has made a lot of changes in the past couple of years, so you can opt to post a single photo, which that's what Instagram started with, and now we've got all these great options like adding a slideshow of up to 10 photos, and you can mix that. So the 10 can be a combination of 5 photos and 5 videos. You can do all videos. You can play around with it and just figure out what works best for you. Or you can also upload a single video of about, right now they're a minute in length. And so once you've determined what you're going to upload, then you can start playing around with Instagram's built-in filters and editing tools, so that you can crop your picture, brighten it, you can blur some of it, make it black and white if you want to. So just really, I encourage people to take the time to play around with the app's filters and editing features just to get familiar with them. And then once you've achieved the look that you want, you can start creating a look, and that's what you're wanting to maintain throughout your posting in the future so that you give a consistent appearance.
Mm-hmm. So to leverage what Valerie was just talking about, we really want to focus in on building your brand here on Instagram. You want to create that consistent look. You need to determine what your style is. You don't want people just to recognize you by your tiny little icon logo and name at the top. You want to have the same kind of feel with the posts that you're making as well. So if your image is coming up on the feed, that they automatically have a really good idea of who you are. So once you figure out what you want to consider things like your brand's color scheme, words that describe your style, and what your style is not too. And so once you've kind of whittled that list down, you want to choose filters that reflect that overall style to create a signature look. And so you also want to make sure that you document that process as part of your social media policy. So no matter who's posting in your business for Instagram, they all look the same and they all have that same consistent feel. All right, so after you've loaded your content and applied any edits or filters, it's time to add a caption. Similar to other types of advertising, your caption should be a short statement that supports or complements the image or video rather than text that describes it. In the caption, it can also mention a person, a brand, a company in the photo or video by tagging them. You can also use hashtags, so like specific words or phrases to help people easily find your content, just like you would on Twitter. I also recommend adding a list of approved hashtags in your social media policy, as well as that tone samples and how you're doing your filters, so that you have a really consistent voice and you're using the same hashtag. It's really easy to have slight variations of a hashtag, especially if you're abbreviating words or using initials, and you don't necessarily, you get sloppy when you have multiple slight variations and you're not using the same consistent hashtag. So also, as you're reading your caption, you also can tag the location of where the photo was taken if it's appropriate, and so that's a feature built in as you're uploading that content. And finally, you can connect your Instagram feed with other social media platforms, such as your organization's Facebook or Twitter account, and elect the feed to post out to those platforms as well. So then you just click the share button, and that Instagram post will end up on multiple platforms.
All right, and you can also share content through Instagram stories. This is a new feature that's just rolled out probably within the past 6 or 7 months. You start out like a regular post. You can load pictures or videos, but Instagram stories, the biggest difference is that they don't show up in your regular feed. So instead, your followers will view that when they open their Instagram app and it gets to their feed. They'll see everybody's profile pictures up at the top, those icons, and they can just click on those and watch the stories. And then the other big deal is that the content disappears after a 24-hour timeline. So that being said, what's best for Instagram stories? They're great if you want to post content in real time, and you can even have the option to go live, kind of like Facebook Live. So when you have information or ideas that you want to share as they're happening, maybe you're having an event or you're on location somewhere, Instagram stories might be a good option for you. And another nice benefit of Instagram stories is that people can't directly comment on the post. So if it's something where you don't necessarily want public commentary or feedback, Instagram stories is the way to go. It's also nice because unlike your regular content, people can't post negative stuff. They have to send it directly to you. And I think that kind of deters if somebody doesn't like it and they want to tell you, they might not do it because it's going in a direct message with Instagram stories.
So as we mentioned earlier, a business account on Instagram allows you the ability to promote your content in order to reach a larger audience and potentially gain more followers. So in addition to putting your content in front of more of your own users, promoting a post gives you the ability to give a direct call to action as well. So once you've chosen your call to action, you can select a target audience by setting a location, interest, age, and gender. And you can also allow Instagram to choose for you. And if you've linked your account to your Facebook, you can use your default Facebook audience as well. So that's a nice little add-on. Then you can either select one of the budget options or set your own budget, as well as the duration that you want the promotion to run. So finally, you'll get to review your order, enter a payment method, and if your account is connected to your Facebook page, your default payment method for Facebook should carry over, so you don't have to put in new information. So that's all your little admin stuff. And then just click promote and you are done.
All right, and so whether you're choosing to promote your content or not, you do need to give your followers a clear call to action. Promoting content just helps give them the extra push, because you can add a button that will encourage them to take that action you want, whether it's clicking over to your website, clicking to sign up for a webinar, watching more, shop now, call the office, or even get directions to your location. So now, what's the difference between a promoted post and an Instagram ad? Because both of those exist. So for starters, your ads can be created in your Facebook ad manager settings. And so you can actually run the same ad on both platforms, which is kind of nice. As we mentioned, Instagram being owned by Facebook, it just gives you a chance to cross-promote between the two. And ads also allow you to choose more specific marketing objectives. They have 3 main categories, which are awareness, consideration, and then conversion. So and then they have sub-options underneath that. So once you figure out what your objective is, you can choose your audience settings. Again, it'll have the same defaults if you've already got it set up for Facebook. Placements, which is where you want your ads to be shown. And then that can be customized, or you can use the automatic settings. Just kind of depends on if you already have a good idea of where your audience is. And then you define your budget and schedule your ads to go out. And then you also choose the format for your ads. You can do a single image, a single video, a slideshow. You just want to make sure you get connected to your Instagram page after that. And then you add in your text or whatever content you need to preview the post. Once it looks good, place your order. You're all set.
So when it comes to building the audience, there's a few ways you can grow your audience. The best way is just to have a conversation with your audience, respond to their comments and or like them. But we have some other good tips for growing your audience as well. So first, creating a bio that accurately represents your business and explains why people should follow you, as well as what they can expect for you, really does help. Gives you some credibility too.
All right. Next, you can try following and engaging with other users that post content related to your brand, your business, or your industry, and using that search feature to search for relevant hashtags is one of the easiest ways to find people to connect with.
Another great way to do it is to cross-promote on other social media platforms. So blast out to your Facebook followers that you're on Instagram now, but also using hashtags to help your content gain some traction. So using some more popular hashtags so that as people are looking for content, that they'll come across your posts.
All right, you can also run a giveaway or a contest and ask followers to share about it with their followers. A lot of people do the, hey, take a screenshot and post it and tag us, that sort of thing, just to get people excited about what you've got to offer. And then as they're sharing, hopefully their followers will come over and check you guys out and choose to follow.
And there's a ton of great tools that you can use to run the giveaways and contests as well to make it easy for you. So now that you've created your profile and you've started posting content, you're probably wondering how to tell if your efforts are working. Everyone with a business account will be able to see 4 things about each post and help you measure this. First up is impressions, and impressions are the total number of times a post has been seen. So you can see what type of content is getting seen more.
All right, and then there's reach, which is the number of unique accounts who saw the post. And at first look, the definitions for reach and impressions may seem very similar, but Sprout Social kind of gave a good breakdown last fall on one of their blog posts when they said you can think of reach as the number of unique people who saw your content. In a perfect world, every one of your followers will see every piece of content you post. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, and not all of your fans will see every single post you publish. So reach is a measurement of your effective audience. Impressions, on the other hand, means that content was delivered to someone's feed. A viewer doesn't have to engage with it in order for it to count as an impression. And what's tricky about impressions is that one person can have multiple impressions of the same piece of content.
There's people who just keep scrolling up and down, up and down.
The algorithm's changing constantly and reordering how content appears in your feed as well can affect that.
Yeah. The third measurement tool that's built in is engagement. And this is the number of unique accounts that liked, saved, or commented on your post. So that's what you're really going for.
And then saves specifically is another thing you can keep track of, and it's the number of unique accounts that saved one of your pieces of content. A save is a way for users to tag a post that they're interested in looking at again later on, so they don't have to find your profile and search through it to find it 2 weeks later when they have time to actually see what it's all about. You can kind of think of it as being similar to bookmarking a page in a web browser, and or even bookmarking a page in a book.
Yeah.
It's just an easier way for people to keep track of what you're posting.
So all those recipes and all those great little videos, if you want to go actually make it when you're not sitting in your car, we know you're sitting in your car scrolling through Instagram, you can actually go and find it later when you're at the grocery store or at home cooking.
So these 4 points can give you a pretty good idea of the types of content your audience is interested in, but if you really want even more information, you want your business profile to reach 100 followers. The big deal at 100 is that Instagram will give you access to even more demographic information regarding your followers in terms of location, age, and gender, and having that information at hand can help you improve your content strategy moving forward so that you're producing content that you know your audience is more likely to engage with and really get excited about.
All right, so with all that information at hand, we hope that you're feeling a little bit more confident about using Instagram to connect with and grow your business's audience. And we're ready to take your questions now. So go ahead and post them if you haven't already. And we have a couple that we've already received that we will start with.
Okay, first up, my audience is probably older than the average Instagram user. Do you think it's still worth it for me to start a business account?
It all depends on your long-term strategy. If you're going to stick with that older demographic, I'd keep an eye on what's going on with Instagram. If that audience starts getting older, then yeah, you might want to go ahead and move over there. But if you want to expand into a younger audience, that would be why to go there. If you're never going to deal with a younger demographic, it's not necessarily worth your time. And if you want to just mess around with it or be ready for it, maybe you would start playing with it, but not really to invest in it, and knowing how young that audience is.
All right, next up, I've tried promoting my posts in the past, but it doesn't seem to increase engagement. What could I be doing wrong?
Honestly, the answer to this will vary between users. Some general ideas that could be is that your ad isn't telling a story in a way that compels your audience to take an action, or because there's too much text. Instagram is a place where that less is more approach we talked about last month can help you out. Also, may want to make try making your content appeal to your audience's lifestyle rather than just showing them your product. So that's a multifaceted question.
Okay. Hashtags. Is there a limit to how many I should use?
Another question. You can use up to 30 on one post, but that is a lot. And Instagram gurus out there suggest keeping it to about 5 or 10 to avoid looking too spammy and distracting people from the message. Hashtags for your industry are and which ones and how many the influencers in your industry are using to give you kind of a starting point. Also be sure to keep track of how your audience interacts with these posts with different amounts of hashtag. If you see they engage more with 5 or 6 versus 10, stick to that smaller number. It'll take some time, but you'll figure out what your sweet spot is. But yeah, you can definitely overdo it on hashtags. Please don't do that.
Yeah, just take some time to play around with that 5 to 10 range
exactly.
and see what works. Just keep track of it. All right, last one. Is there a rule about reposting other people's content or best practices to follow?
Okay. User-generated content makes for a very tricky situation. You definitely have to be careful with this because you don't want to wind up in legal mess if you repost an image that's been copyrighted. As a general rule, if you see a post you'd like to share with your audience, send a message to that user and ask if you can repost it. Even if you plan to use a repost app, get the permission. It's not worth the headache of it. If they give you permission, make sure you give them credit for their photography and also tag them in the photo. If you have been given permission to repost, I also recommend that you do not alter the image. just to be safe. It's their property. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Instagram Who, What, Why, and Where. A recap of this blog will be posted on our blog. So stay tuned to 123shoot.com and be sure to join us on April 19th for our next webinar to discuss SEO and Google Analytics. These are two topics that we have talked about before, but I will say this is probably our most asked about information, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper on it. So we look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks, guys.